there's likely a deeper reason that you felt like being invisible over the past year or so, or why you suddenly feel like you're ready to do the thing that's been on your list to do for years. It's not random. It's because your entire internal season has shifted. I'm going to show you why. We are going to go deep into secondary progressions, an astrological timing technique, and specifically your progressed moon. By the end of this episode, you are going to understand your 2 to 3 year business cycles, and you'll never beat yourself up for being behind again. Okay, so what are progressions, or secondary progressions as they're called? With secondary progressions, we are using a day for a year system. So 1 day after you're born equals 1 year of your life. So if you're 40 years old, your progressed chart shows where the planets were 40 days after you were born. Now, this sounds a bit strange, but it is a symbolic system, a symbolic technique that is used to track how you've evolved over time, how your personality, your needs, and your focus have shifted as you've grown. So you can think of your natal chart, your birth chart, as the seed. It's your potential. It's your blueprint, right? And your progressed chart is the way that you're growing into a tree. It's you evolving over time. It's you expressing the potential of your chart over time. And as I explained in the first episode of this series, all planets move at different rates. So your progressed chart reflects those movements. It doesn't equate, 1 year, 1 degree to 1 year kind of thing. There are methods that do that. Secondary progressions are moving the chart forward by this day for a year system. So no matter how fast or slow the planets were moving over those days is what's going to be reflected in your progressed chart. So some planets move faster, some planets move slower, but the one that we look to the most, the one that we probably care about the most for timing, is your progressed moon, because it shows not only the themes of your life that are going to come up and the seasons of life that you're going to be in, but it's also showing us when you're getting more light, when you are growing in visibility, and when you are moving into a darker or a releasing phase, a releasing cycle in your life. So the moon's movement through the 12 houses is really important. Your progressed moon moves through your entire chart in about 27 to 29 years. That's the moon's movement, right? And it takes 27 to 29 days to move through all of the signs. So it spends about 2 to 2.5 years in each sign. And if you use the whole sign house system like I do, that means that it's 2 to 2.5 years per house. Every 2 to 3 years, your focus shifts, your emotional needs evolve, your business season changes accordingly. So if you don't know this is happening, you might start to think that something is wrong with you, or you're behind, or why can everybody move forward on these things when I can't, or why is everybody doing this when I feel like hiding? That is totally normal. Nothing is wrong with you. You are just in a different season. So there are 2 layers you need to understand here when we're looking at your progressed moon for business timing, particularly layer 1. Which house is your progressed moon in? This tells you the topic, the themes that are coming up for you over that 2 to 3 year time. And it can tell you whether you're in a more visible phase or in a retreat, behind the scenes type phase. And then layer 2 is what phase is your progressed moon in relative to the progressed sun. This tells you where you are in the moon's natural cycle, from the new moon to the full moon, back to the new moon again. So, if you're around about 40, you've gone through more than one cycle of the moon through the whole of your chart. It matters whether you're in a new moon phase or a full moon phase, because if you are we're going to break this down in a moment. If you're in a new moon phase, that is when the moon is dark, right? There's not a lot of light on you. When you're in a full moon phase, there's a lot of light on you. So this for your business can mean maybe more visibility, more things happening when you're in that full moon phase. So we need to work with both of these layers. What house is the progressed moon in, and what phase is the progressed moon in? So let's go back to layer 1. The visibility houses versus the retreat houses. I'm not going to go through the entire 12 houses today. You can watch my 12 houses episodes to find out more about that. Your progressed moon does move through all 12 houses in about 29 years, but not all houses are equal when it comes to your business visibility, right? Some houses are naturally more visible, outward facing public places. And we've talked about this in the transits episode as well. And some houses are more inward facing, more private or behind the scenes. So the visibility houses, the houses where you naturally feel like being seen, where you may feel like it's easier for you to do launches or for promotion periods or unveiling new offers, starting something fresh and new in your business, may be when you're in a first house phase, a first house time. So when the progressed moon is in your first house, which is, your brand identity, your personal visibility, you being the face of your business, when there's a lot of that'll really focus your energy. When the progressed moon is in your first house, there'll be a focus on you and how you want to be seen and how you are even presenting yourself. Maybe there's a change in how you present yourself. Maybe there's a change in your personal brand, that kind of thing. There's also the 5th house, which is the sort of creativity house. There's creative expression, there's play, there's showing more of your personality and your self-expression here, right? Your natural way of being noticed is the 5th house. So if the progressed moon is there, you might find that you're getting out there a bit more. You maybe on stages a little bit more, like you're feeling into a bit of a performer mode in that time. 10th house time is, as we've talked about many times before, this is career visibility. This is business visibility time, public recognition, leadership. This is the visibility house for your business. So if the progressed moon is in your 10th house, there is a lot of potential there for things to be happening when it comes to your business life. And, maybe you're getting recognition for something that you've published. Maybe you've published a book. Maybe you have landed a big deal. Maybe you've launched your course and had your biggest ever intake. Something big can happen at that time. 11th house time is also a time of visibility. It's community visibility, it's networks, it's being seen within groups or taking the lead within groups as well if your progressed moon is in that house. When your progressed moon is in those houses, it is time to be visible. And I'm going to talk about how to find out about your secondary progress chart in a moment. So bear with me if you're like, how do I know what my progress chart is? I am getting there. It's also important to know the retreat houses. So these are houses where you naturally want to go inward, where you want to be more private. The 12th house is kind of the ultimate retreat house. It is the behind the scenes. It is a subconscious processing. It is the preparation. It's the back rooms of your business. You're getting things ready, rethinking, reimagining your purpose. You're really kind of diving deep into your stories and maybe things that are holding you back, and really trying to clear those things. I think this is a time of internal processing, and it may be that means that you don't feel like being as visible in that time. And that's certainly been my experience. If your progressed moon is in the 4th house, this is also a bit of a retreat time. You might find your focus is really much more drawn to your home, to your family, maybe your family of origin. Maybe there's a focus on particularly your parents and needing to be more available to your parents even. And I know I have had a client this year who has been through that, who's had the progressed moon in her 4th house, and she's really had to take much more care of her father and help him to, move into a retirement village. And there's been a bit more focus on that particular area of her life. And also she's had to focus on her own home, personal home, and her immediate family as well. There's been a lot more focus on things that she needs to do at home. Now, that doesn't mean that her business hasn't still been going and been successful, but she herself has been in this more private phase of life. And that absolutely affects how visible we can be in our business and how much time we have for those visibility activities. The 8th house is another one of those kind of more darker houses. This is a house of transformation. It's a house of intensity, a bit of more private work. Maybe there are things going on that you need to kind of get clear on when it comes to your collaborations, your partnerships in business. Like I'm talking about financial collaborations. There's a bit of maybe backroom work that needs to go on with that. It's taking up your energy potentially and away from your visibility activities. It's a necessary part of the cycle. All of these phases are necessary parts of the cycle, but you can't be full out in every phase. Okay, so if your progressed moon is in one of those houses, don't force visibility. Do what needs to be done. And if that is going inward, do that, right? Work with that energy. So the second layer is the progressed lunation cycle. So when we're talking about not only which house the progressed moon is in, but how big and full is the moon in your progressed chart. This phase is the progressed moon relative to the progressed sun. It's not relative to your natal sun, to where the sun was in the sky when you were born. It's relative to where the sun is in your progressed chart and when the moon is in your progressed chart. That's the aspect that they're making, right? So your progressed moon isn't the only one that's moving through the houses. The sun is also moving, and it's moving in relationship. They're moving in relationship to each other. And just like the regular moon phases, the new moon, the first quarter, the full moon, the last quarter, the progressed moon has the same cycle. And where you are in that cycle matters, especially for your business. So if you're in the progressed new moon phase, this is when the sun and the moon are very close together, or the moon is just slightly ahead of the sun in your progressed chart. They're in the same sign, and they're very close in degree. This is the planting of the seeds time. This may be a lower visibility phase for you because this is when the moon is dark. There's really no light at a new moon. It's fresh starts though. There's a really fresh start energy about it. You might be starting a new chapter in your business. You might be planting seeds that are going to grow over the next, 7 to 14 years. You might be building again from scratch. So you're not necessarily yet in that high visibility phase. This is the time to plant seeds, not necessarily to harvest. You might be starting new projects, but not ready to kind of go out there and shout it all from the rooftops kind of thing. The progressed first quarter phase is when your progressed moon is about 90 degrees ahead of the sun. So we go through, the crescent phase and the first quarter phase. The moon is growing. There's more light on the moon. So this is the building phase. This is you accumulating skills, resources, and experience. This is you coming out. So you may be learning new skills that you're going to be known for later. You might be building the foundation of your business. You might be working hard, but you're not fully seeing the results of that yet. You are growing towards something. The business application of this is time to build, learn, accumulate. You're preparing for that fuller moon phase when there's going to be a lot more light on you. You're going to be potentially more visible, more publicly known. Your business is going to come to its fruition point, or you are coming to your fruition point. The progressed full moon phase is when that progressed moon is opposite the progressed sun, about 180 degrees apart. This is maximum visibility. This is culmination, recognition. You might be being seen and recognized for your work. You might be reaching a peak or a culmination point. You might be receiving some sort of public acknowledgement. You're harvesting what you planted earlier, right? This is your time to shine. This is your time to go big, be visible, step into leadership. This is when the work you've been building can pay off. And the progressed last quarter phase is when the moon has moved about 270 degrees of the progressed sun. It's 90 degrees-ish before the next new moon. This is when you start to release, to let go, to integrate. So you are, if you're in this phase, you're in this kind of releasing what no longer serves, integrating the lessons you've learned over the past 21 years of that moon cycle, of that progressed moon cycle. You're preparing for the next cycle, and you might be pulling back a bit from your peak visibility. You might be noticing, even if you have opportunities, you might be saying yes to fewer opportunities, saying no to more opportunities. Is there may be a pulling back a bit from the spotlight a little bit when you're in this final quarter phase. And then you finally get to the dark of the moon, the progressed balsamic phase, which is just before the new moon. And this is really the moon is very close to the sun. This is the surrender phase. This is the deep inner work phase, kind of like the 12th house phase, the darkest phase before the new beginning. So you might be in deep retreat at this time. You might be surrendering control. You might be processing subconsciously stuff. You're preparing for the next phase again. This is what needs to happen, the shedding, the releasing, before we can come out the other side. So how these layers work together, because it might seem like, but what if the progressed moon is in my 10th house, but I'm also in a balsamic phase? Now, doesn't that feel like a bit of a contradiction? Yes, it does. But there are ways that this might work together. So think about when you look at the chart, which house is your progressed moon in? Is it in a visibility or a retreat house? What phase is your progressed moon in relative to your progressed sun? So if you are in a visibility house, like the 10th house, the moon is in the visibility house, but you're in a dark moon phase, you might feel conflicted. You might feel that internal conflict. Part of you wants to be seen, but another part of you wants to hide. In that case, maybe you're visible in a quieter way. Maybe you are building something behind the scenes. Maybe, again, you are getting higher quality opportunities. So you're doing fewer visibility activities than you would normally say yes to, but they're of higher quality. So you're still getting that boost of the 10th house, while also getting that retreat of like being really, really selective about where you are being visible and what is best for your energy, because the balsamic moon phase also helps us to really tune into ourselves and what we need. So it could be a really helpful time, especially if natally your moon is full and you are used to, going full out all of the time and you say yes to everything. Maybe this is a really nice natural correction of that to kind of help you to refine and discern the places that you really want to be seen. The key is to look at both of these things and see these layers and see how they're working together. They don't always perfectly align, and that's okay. You just need to understand what each layer is telling you so you can work with both and you can interpret that. And you can also then look at the transits and look at the other things that are going on to kind of work out where your opportunities are best for visibility in that time. That is a complicated, conflicting phase, but it could also be a very clarifying phase for you. So I'll give you an example from my own chart. It's not quite as dramatic as that 10th house but balsamic moon phase. But for the past 2 years, my progressed moon has been in the 12th house, which is the retreat house, but I'm in a first quarter phase in my progressed lunation cycle. So this is the building phase. So what does that mean for me? Well, the 12th house progressed moon is telling me go inward, work behind the scenes, prepare yourself, do some work, do some of that subconscious work, do some of that inner work, healing work, all of that stuff. And this first quarter phase, or I'm actually in the building towards the first quarter phase. I'm still in the kind of waxing crescent phase. I'm building skills, foundations, structures that are going to help me later, right? So I'm still building my business, even though I'm in this 12th house time. So I've been in retreat, yes, but I've also been building. I've been learning, I've been refining, I've been preparing. The first quarter phase that I'm fully moving into this year is also, this year as in 2026 and 27, is the first quarter phase is also about refining. What the seeds you planted, say 7 years ago when the moon was new, when you're in that really new dark moon phase, and you're now seeing what's going to last and seeing what's not going to last, and you're kind of like pulling away the things that won't work and really doubling down on the things that will. That's the beauty of that first quarter to, waxing gibbous phase of the moon. And that is what I'm moving into later this year. And also that will align really nicely with when my progressed moon also moves into my first house. So there is, as I understand it, a lot of preparation work going in now so that I can emerge, later on in 2026 and into 2027 with a more solid business, with a more solid foundation that will take me further after that. Both of those layers are really important and really interesting to look at and to understand where you're at in your cycle. This is probably going to be very enlightening for you and your planning process. And if you want to go deeper and you want to plan out your big career or business moves over the next few years, knowing when these other things are happening can also be really, really helpful for that. And if you're working with a business astrologer or an astrologer like me, we can look at all of these things together and map out those major turning points in your business over the next few years. Here's how to use progressions in your business. You are going to want to find out your progressions. If you don't have access to astrology software, you can use AstroSeek, astro-seek.com. There is a way to do secondary progressions in AstroSeek. You just put in your birth data as you would for a normal natal chart, and it will give you your progressed chart. Now, usually this will be like a bi-wheel chart. So you'll see your natal chart on the inside and your progressed chart on the outside. So AstroSeek is going to show you the house the progressed moon is in and the sign it's in. It's going to give you a bit of an interpretation for that. Once you know what house your progressed moon is in, you can watch my videos on the 12 houses to get an understanding of what that means for your business. So progressions can feel kind of complex if you don't have any experience with astrology before. So I would recommend, if you're really interested in this, that you do work with an astrologer who can really break it down for you and give you that clarity, because progressions is such a powerful technique to work with to help you understand the cycle that you're in and the cycle that you're in business, the cycle you're in life and in business. So helpful. If you want my help with this, you can book in a cosmic business strategy session, and we will look at your progress chart as part of that. And we will also look at your natal chart and some of the transits that are going on to give you a more complete picture of where you're at timing wise in the next 12 months. All right, here's what I want to know. Do you know where your progress moon is right now? If so, please drop it in the comments below. And does it match how you've been feeling in your business? Okay, so now you understand progressions, transits, but there is one more technique that I want to help you to tie all of this together, and that is my personal favorite for annual planning. It is called Annual Perfections, and it shows you the theme of your year. So in the next episode, I'm going to show you how to layer this into your timing understanding and how to create that kind of complete business timing system for your year of 2026 and beyond. So make sure you watch the next one to find out all about that. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. I will see you on the next video.